Hey, this is Rob Zombie, and you're watching Loudwire.
Hey everyone, Graham from Loudwire here, and it's Wikipedia Fact or Fiction time with a guest you've been asking for a very long time, Mr. Rob Zombie. Thank you so much for joining me.
Let's see if anything's correct.
I know. That's always the...
Maybe it's all correct. I don't know.
That's only happened once.
Oh, really?
Yep, only happened once.
Who did it happen with?
The drummer from Five Finger Death Punch.
There you go.
But hey, I love the fiction, so let's try to find it. It said, first of all, that growing up, you aspired to be like Alice Cooper, Steven Spielberg, Bela Lugosi, and Stan Lee.
I don't think I intentionally thought that. I think I said that in an interview later because it was like I didn't aspire to be anything. I was just some dopey kid. But, I loved comic books, I loved movies, I loved music, and I couldn't distinguish really what I wanted to do.
Okay.
Although I didn't think that I could actually do any of them. But as a kid, you'd read Marvel Comics, and Stan Lee was seemed like a superstar as like Alice Cooper. Basically, everyone seemed amazing to me as a kid. You grow up in some nowhere town, and so anybody that even seemed remotely famous just seemed like they were on another planet.
Especially the people we just mentioned.
Oh, yeah. So I didn't really aspire to I mean, that quote's probably true from something, but it wasn't I wasn't thinking as a kid. I mean, as a kid. Idiot kid, you weren't thinking anything. Maybe I can survive high school is about all you're thinking.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Although I wish I had quit sooner.
Yeah,
why did I stay to the end? What did I get out of it?
I don't know.
Headaches.
It said the first record you ever bought was an Alice Cooper album.
Well, album. The first 7-inch I ever owned, because before I even knew albums existed, they would you'd go in the store and they'd have all the 45s. And I know the very first 45 I ever bought was a Jackson 5 Dancing Machine. That I remember clearly. And I had like one of those little like plastic orange things. It wasn't a close and play. Remember the Mickey Mouse close and play?
Yeah.
Just shy of that. I mean, I was probably in kindergarten. And I would just play. I don't even know if I ever flipped the record over. I would just play it over and over. I must have drove my parents crazy to just play it. Play it.
That's like the typical kid thing, isn't it? Just can't get enough of one thing.
Yeah, and then I just got bought out the singles. I had a big box of singles, and then finally, first record.
Awesome. It said during your youth, your parents worked at a carnival, but they chose to leave after a riot broke out and tents were set on fire. Yeah,
that's totally true. I mean, that was on my mom's side of the family. They were all in that business. They still are, actually. And my mom and dad would do it. This was in the 70s. I think that was around... I can still remember the time period because it was the year Kiss Love Gun came out. Because I remember I just bought that poster.
Yeah.
So maybe I even got it on the carnival, like you throw darts and you win it.
At Gene.
So that was like, 76 or something like that. And I don't know what was going on. I mean, everything's rigged. All the gambling tents were rigged. All the games were rigged. In fact, my mom, when she was a little girl, her job was to walk around the fairgrounds holding a huge stuffed animal. So it looked like she had just won it. But clearly, you couldn't win those.
Oh, what a great
That was her job
scam.
as a kid, which is so funny. I think my brother actually did that sometime. I've seen some pictures of him holding this thing walking around. That must have been what he was doing. But yeah, I think someone had just gotten ripped off for a lot of money on the gambling tents, and they came back and they lit the tents on fire, and everything went up in flames, and it turned into this big riot. But all the carnies, the guns start coming out, and you start hearing gunshots. It was super. It was not. It was super violent and crazy, and I think that was when my parents were like, you know what, we might be able to find something better to be doing here.
Yeah, maybe.
Because me and my brother were like, in the middle of this craziness, where is everybody? Things are on fire, and people like beating the crap out of each other.
Oh my God.
But I do remember going back to school, and this is so funny, and you have the first day, like, what did you do this summer? And I had the best summer story for like 3rd grade, so that was always cool.
Oh, brilliant.
Still telling the stupid story.
A+. In the past, you've gone under the aliases of Rob Straker and Rob Zodiac.
Well, yes and no. Straker was a name I used on the first couple White Zombie records. Maybe just the first 2? I don't even remember. And the other thing is just, that's something that George Takei said at Howard Stern's birthday party when he introduced me and said my name wrong.
Rob Straker?
No, Zodiac.
Or he calls you Rob Zodiac?
Yeah, instead of Zombie.
Oh, wow.
I think you read the card wrong or something.
That's awesome.
So that's what that's from, actually. So
that's super cool.
One's true, one's a George Takei mistake.
That's great.
I didn't even know what happened because I was backstage, and everyone was
Oh.
like joking about it later. I go, I don't get the joke. Would someone explain the joke? Because I didn't hear it.
Rob's Zodiac.
Yeah, that's basically.
White Zombie's Gods on Voodoo Moon EP. It said only 300 copies were pressed, only of which 100 were sold, and the band members still retain possession of the remaining 200.
Yeah, we pressed 300. I don't even know how many we sold. Maybe 100's even an overestimate.
Yeah.
I certainly get a box of them still sitting in my attic.
Really?
And yeah, so that's true. I mean, I don't know if the sad part is I don't know if the amount sold is true. Maybe even less. But yeah, no, they're all just still sitting there.
Never thought about putting them up for sale or anything?
Who wants them? Anybody? You know, it's like,
sure some people would.
I was dying for 7 inches. I mean, I still have them. I don't know. Maybe stick them on eBay or something.
Yeah. Psycho Head Blowout. It said you were critical of the producer because he wouldn't do anything you told him to, and he kept smoking pot and falling asleep.
I don't remember that at all.
Okay, so some fiction perhaps there.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, we did. Yeah, I don't think that's true at all.
Okay.
Mark Kramer was the producer. He was the bass player for the Butthole Surfers back then. And we went in his studio and recorded it in like one day.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I didn't like the way the record sounded, but that was probably more our fault than his fault. But we didn't know what we were doing. You know, it's like now people are more savvy, but that back then it's like, okay, here's microphones and us.
Right.
What do? You know? It wasn't until we signed to Geffen Records that I even knew, oh, people double track vocals. I mean, I had no idea. I just thought like, you know, I was used to seeing like, you do it Elvis style. There's the microphone. Everybody play.
Yeah.
You know, why doesn't it sound awesome? So yeah, no, that's probably. I mean, I don't remember that being the case at all.
Okay. The God of Thunder EP. It said White Zombie wanted to provoke Gene Simmons with the album cover in order to piss him off and then have him promote the band through his outrage.
I think we joked about that.
Okay.
Maybe as a joke, but that was never an actual intention because
Okay.
we didn't ever in a million years think that would ever be on his radar.
Yeah.
So we just thought like, oh, this is funny. And, you know, we were huge Kiss fans, so it wasn't meant to be insulting in any way.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, the amount of times Gene has mentioned that album cover to me over the years is
Really?
fucking hilarious. And I can never tell if he is actually mad or he's just fucking with me. I still can't tell. And it's funny, because not that long after that, well, many years actually, a couple of years after that, we went to see Kiss, and we were signed to Geffen by that time, and our A&R guy took us backstage. We met Kiss. He said something.
Okay.
And then, like 20 years later, I mean, I've had run-ins with Gene in and out for many years. I've known him for a while, and he'll still mention it. Like when I think he forgets 2 years ago, and he mentions it again. So
Wow.
I don't know. I don't know if he thought it was funny. I don't know what he thinks, truthfully, but he definitely knows about it now.
All right. House of a Thousand Corpses. It said you initially gave the film a bad ending, believing that the studio would give you further funds to make a better ending, and it worked.
No, I didn't do that
No.
on purpose. I mean, we got more funds to basically if I can even remember this properly, what happened was when we were done shooting, because I never made a movie before. So just the scheduling and shooting and, getting to the end of the movie when we were done, it wasn't even like the ending was bad. It was almost like it didn't exist. It was just we screened the movie, at the studio for people, and it just felt like it's kind of moving along, and it seemed sort of almost like, oh, did you just stop shooting? Which almost in a way we did. So they gave us more money and went back and basically put it all into the big ending, none of which existed at all at the time. So it wasn't like trying to make the ending bad on purpose by any means. It just almost like didn't have an ending, and obviously they knew,
Right.
well, this movie sort of doesn't have an ending. So that was great back then. I mean, I didn't really realize how lucky I was making that movie. I mean, you never know at the time. But just we had so much at our disposal and so much money that I still haven't had since then, and so much that you don't even have anything to compare it to, so you don't know how good it was.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that movie. To me, that's like a quintessential love letter to like classic horror.
It's such a funny movie because it seems to get more and more beloved and popular as time goes on. I mean,
Yeah.
at the time, everyone fucking hated it, and nobody would say anything good about it. I haven't watched it from start to finish probably since I made it.
You had announced work on a new film called Tyrannosaurus Rex, which was slated for release in 2009, but the film was ultimately scrapped in favor of working on Halloween 2.
Well, what happened with that was I done Halloween, and the next I had a 3-picture deal with Dimension Films.
Okay.
So the next film was going to be Tyrannosaurus Rex. But we were working on it. We weren't ready to start shooting or anything, but we had been working on it for a while, in a sense, because the lead character was going to be played by Tyler Mane, who had played Michael Myers. So he plays a boxer in the movie. So he had been off. He gained like he's huge. He's like 6'11". He went off and gained like 80 pounds. And he was being trained by Holyfield's trainer in boxing.
Whoa.
And he was just becoming this like massive creature. But nobody knew. No one knew about it. He knew, and we were working. And then the Weinstein Company was supposed to just put on their schedule Untitled Rob Zombie Project.
Okay.
And they put the name out there. So everyone thought, oh, here we go. But we weren't even close to starting. And then they were like, this movie's going to cost too much money. We don't want to do it. Oh. And then they just changed their mind. But by that point, everyone was already asking about it. But that's really what happened.
I've heard that it still might happen. Is that true?
I mean, everything still might happen. The only thing, there are people actually recently, they're interested in doing it. But it's hard to go back and take something that now that was like 2007, and have the same excitement you had for it then, because you kind of do these things at a certain point in your life when you're in that headspace. You kind of go back and try to redo it again. But the funny thing is, the reason Michael Myers looked the way he did in Halloween 2, because that was literally Tyler's look from Tyrannosaurus Rex. Oh. Because he had the massive beard that he grew for the other movie. I was like, fuck it. You spent a lot of time growing that beard. Just keep it.
Yes.
It looks cool.
All right, last one for you. It says that you have not cut your beard once since 1984.
Well, that's not true. I've never shaved it off completely.
Okay.
But,
You've trimmed it up here and there.
Yeah, it would be... Actually, it doesn't really grow that long to begin with.
So that's fiction.
Yeah, well,
chopped it up a
being
little bit.
clean-shaven part
Yeah.
is what probably would.
For sure.
Someone thought.
Rob Zombie, everyone. The Electric Warlock Acid Witch Satanic Orgy Celebration Dispenser. I got it right that time.
Get it right.
Yes. April 29th. Get ready for it. It rules. Rob Zombie, everybody.
Thanks, man.